Hello everyone, and today I'm going to be showing you how I color hair. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick the base color for the hair. When you're picking base colors for the hair, make sure that you don't go too saturated or too muted. And of course, after you pick your base colors, you can go ahead and fill up the hair. I changed the colors a little bit because it was a little bit off from the original colors. And now we're going to give the hair more depth. So this is not a shadow layer, it is just a color to separate the strands of the hair. Now with this, we're going to change the base colors a little bit on your brush. So we're going to make it darker and a bit more muted, but it depends on you. If you want it more saturated, you can go ahead and do that. And also, we're going to change the hue. The hue also depends on the atmosphere. If you want it to be more cold, you can go ahead and put it more on the blue side. Slide it more on the blue side. And if you want it more warmer, you can stay on the orange and pink. Show you what I said with the color wheel. So for example, we're going to pick a base color. Let's go for like a cyan or something. There. This is the base color. Now what I meant by that, it's not a shadow, so we're just going to separate the strands, make it more defined so it doesn't look flat. So with this, I'm just going to move it down and make it darker, or it's your choice if you want it a little more lighter or darker and saturated. So this, when you slide it like this, it's light. It depends on how light you want the color to be. When you slide it like this, it depends how dark you want your colors to be. And with this one, it's just like grayscale from black to white. So this is how you mute your color. For example, it's super saturated, just move it right over here. If it's too muted, you can go ahead and slide it like this. Slide it more towards the color part. And if you want it more darker, slide it down. I'm very sorry. I'm so bad at explaining things. So yeah, this depends on how light you want your colors to be and how dark your colors to be right over here. Here is the grayscale. And this is how muted your colors you want to be. And also how dark, how saturated, and how muted, how dark and how light. So that's just what you need to know. And also, this is the hue. This thing is the hue. For example, you want the colors to be a little bit more warmer. So you're going to slide it towards the green. Or wait. Yeah, towards the green. Actually, this is a really bad example. I don't know, man. Let me just change the colors so that I don't make it confusing for all of you. Okay, for example, you have kind of like a... Oh yeah, right. Okay, so for example, red hair. Let's just do that. This is much more easier to like... There, red hair. You want it to be a bit more warmer. You slide it on the orange side, and that's going to be like the shading of your hair to like define the strands. But if you want it more colder, you're gonna slide it towards the blue. There you go. Warm and cold. So that's really it. I'm sorry if I'm so bad at explaining things. If that wasn't confusing enough, here's another confusing thing that I'm about to say. And now that you picked your color, here is what we're going to do. So again, this is not a shadow, this is just for defining the strands of the hair. So in line art, we tend to make these like lines to identify the strands of the hair, right? So we're going to be putting like a line on the line art. So we're just making it like have shadow or something. Think of it as that way. We're just giving the line art a bit of a shadow. So on every side of the hair, every ends of the hair, we're going to be doing this. We're also going to be doing it on the top of the hair. So like we did on the bangs, we're also going to be doing it on the top. I know this sounds complicated or confusing, but trust me, it is easy. So we just need to follow the shape of the hair. And to make the strands more defined, we're going to connect the top shading to the bottom shading. So we're just going to be repeating all of that in every part of the hair. Again, we're going to shade the bottom and then shade the top. And then we're going to connect the both of them. And also remember to just play around. If you don't like it the first time, then try it again. Maybe it'll work out fine. But don't pressure yourself too much because you don't need to be perfect in art. And now we're going to be picking another color, again, same as the one I taught you with the color wheel. We're just going to be making it darker and a little bit more saturated. Oh, and also changing the hue. So again, this is not a shadow. This is also just for defining more of the strands. We're going to be darkening it and giving it more value. So same as the other one, we're going to shade the bottom, shade the top, and connect them, but don't do it too much. So I'm not going to be speeding up this part too much because I want to give you an idea of what I meant by don't do it too much. And also, you don't need to shade the top one. I just did it to define the bangs. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you the layers of the shading. I also lower it at the end depending on how I like it. So you can lower it to your own preferences. And now that we're done with the shading of like defining the strands and stuff, we're now actually going to move on with the shadows. Now for the shadows, create a new layer and set it to multiply. And again, the color of your shadow depends on the mood of your piece. So if it's like warmer, you're going to use a bit more red, dark red to be exact. And if you want it to be more cooler, you can go pick a dark blue or a dark purple for your shadow. Now where you place the shadow is actually very important. So my light source is actually at the top, so the shadows in the hair is mostly going to be at the bottom. If you have a side lighting, then your shadow is going to be at the side. For example, your lighting is at the right, then your shadow is going to be at the left. And for the bottom one, if your lighting is at the bottom, your shadow is mostly going to be at the top. Same to the skin, the hair, the clothing. Yeah, you get the point. Oh, and also I also lowered the opacity of the layers once I'm done coloring, or when I place down the colors to see how it looks. And if you don't like the color, you can always change it on the settings. Just go to filters and change colors for you. But yeah, please lower the opacity so that it doesn't look too harsh. Unless your light source is very harsh, then make your shadows more and more dark. And once you're done using or putting up the shadows, we're going to my favorite part. We're going to add highlights. So I do very simple highlights. I just put a blob on it. So yeah. For your highlights, make a new layer and set it to add glow or color dodge. So with mine, I'm just going to put it on the middle and color the big chunks of the hair, just like that. And also, this is also very important, like the lighting, like I told you. If the lighting is on top, then shadow is going to be at the bottom. So yeah. And once you're done doing the highlights, make sure to lower the opacity again to your own liking. And that's everything. That's how I color hair on my art pieces. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful, or I hope you understood me, because I am terrible at explaining things. But I do hope that I helped you. Please, God, please tell me I helped you.